So maybe you came here because you're like me. You came from the old analog days. We had a regular scanner. You put some frequencies in there and scan the frequencies on a channel, and you listen to police, fire, EMS, and nowadays a lot of things are going in the trunk. So I'm going to use Arizona or the Phoenix metro area as an example because they have a mixture of a lot of different things that actually lays it out pretty well. Um, First and forethought is that the DPS, the public Department of Public Safety, the state troopers, the state police here in Arizona, use the old, you know, duplex radio system. We call it analog frequencies for the different districts. So that's still good. And a lot of the fire departments use what they call fireground frequencies, which is still the old, punch in, 152625 and you can listen. Today I'm going to try to demystify trunk systems and show you how to program your Unidens. And that's a line. It's not letters. So we're going to show you how to do trunked. What is trunked? Well, I'm going to try to explain it as simple as possible because I am a simple person. So we'll do it simply. And I have the SDS200 from Uniden, the SDS100, and today I just received the SDS150. So I'll show you how you can add some channels into the Sentinel program, which you would use to program your Uniden scanners. All right, let's talk trunked. Here in Arizona, in the Phoenix area, there's three major, we'll call them systems. And what these systems do is they're allocated, they're basically servers. They're for, more or less they're computer servers that tie into a radio system that allow you to use digital radios, which are very secure. They can encrypt them, which a lot of the town or the cities out here has done. It's also the relay system, so you can put them on these different towers, and you won't get a lot of static. The because of the digital is a cleaner. It's a cleaner transmission. They just work better. They sound better, and they're more solid. Plus, you can tie other departments together. A lot of stuff you can do with it because it's basically computerized. So in Phoenix, what we have is we have three main systems, which is let's see if I can do this pasting here correctly. There we go. All right, so we have the RWC, the Topaz, and Maricopa. The RWC is services pretty much the Phoenix cities around Phoenix, Phoenix itself, the fire department, the police, and those departments are mostly, and there's more on here, but here's just a brief. It's funny, I did put Phoenix on there. Like Phoenix Police, Tempe Police, Scottsdale, Glendale. The Phoenix Fire Department, the Tempe Fire Department, Scottsdale, they're all kind of like a conglomerate. So they all work together. And so the RWC system services those departments. So you have your systems, and think of these as your departments. So we'll put a little header over that. Call it departments. Right. Now the Topaz system, they're still Phoenix Metro, but for whatever reason, they wanted their own system for a couple of different PDs. So that's going to be Mesa, Gilbert, and I believe Fort McDowell. There might be other ones there too. I'm not sure where Queen Creek fell, but I know that they just started their department about 3 years ago, but I'm not sure what system they're falling under. And then you have the county system. So you have Maricopa County. It's basically the sheriff's setup, although there's additional things under under the Maricopa system, which is like flood control, right? But mainly you have the sheriff's law enforcement, Sheriff Lakes, which is basically the rangers that are out there at the parks, corrections, courts, and probation, right? So now you have your systems. and you have your departments. Well, what else would you have under there? Well, now you would have. Um, oops, let me just redo that. You would also have your kind of your sub categories to your departments. So, for example, light rail. The light rail system falls under RWC. Fire department, your police, your interop mutual aid channels. For the MESA system, they basically just do fire and police on that one. Now we do have Salt River. We have a couple of Native American communities. We have Gila River and Salt River, right in the vicinity of Phoenix. I think they actually have their own systems that they use, and they don't use these other systems. All right, so you have systems department, and then what else would you have? You would have your channels, right? Now the way these channels work is think of the computer, or it's actually a big server, or a server with multiple heads, or we'll call them decks, right? So a server has multiple decks, and each one of those decks may have a purpose. For example, in Phoenix, they have L deck and K deck. L deck is used for special events. K deck is used for fire. I believe C deck is encrypted police, and A deck is for your open channel dispatch for police, for Phoenix police. So you have your different decks, and those decks will have these channels under those decks, right? When I think of a deck, I think of like a physical part of the server. That's see how like the picture of the server has these different layers on it. Each one of these is a different server. That's how I think of the decks, right? So these decks are isolated to their own part of the server, but if they need to, they can connect the different decks together. For example, if they have they have a perimeter set up because somebody was in a car chase, they could take Mesa or Phoenix and connect them on to DPS, the Department of Public Safety, on G deck. Or if it's something that's very high stakes, they could put on an H deck, and H deck is actually an encrypted deck. So G deck is open, H deck is encrypted. So if they needed different departments talking to each other, they would go to either H deck or G deck, and those channels would then be either encrypted or not encrypted, but it would allow the different PDs to talk to themselves, to talk to each other. So that's basically how a trunk system works, is because it's all computerized, it allows us to do a lot of this stuff that you wouldn't be able to do with conventional analog type of channels and frequencies. So how does that look in a application? So let's fire up Sentinel, which is the application you would use to program your Uniden scanners. And this is very specific to the Uniden SDS100, the SDS200, and the SDS150. I can't make this screen any bigger, so hopefully you can see this. Let me see if I can do this little thing. Maybe that will work. So what you can create is your favorites list, and this is the way I have my favorites list. I number them. For here I have Phoenix Fire, and under the Phoenix Fire I do have the conventional frequencies, and then under the trunked ones I have those separated out as well. And these are TGIDs. These are what the computer uses to know what channel they're using, right? So if you go to 1760, the channel is A13, and this A represents A deck, alpha deck. And then what you'll have to do is you're going to have to set up the towers. So there's basically it's an antenna system in Tempe, an antenna system in Scottsdale, and this is the frequencies that those antennas are listening and transmitting on. So you have to have these in here programmed so that the trunk system knows what frequencies to look out for to be able to transmit on those. So that's the Fire setup. I also have Mesa Fire setup, and this is that Topaz system. Like I said, Mesa has their own system. And here you have, again, the TGIDs. And in Mesa, this is their C deck. So Charlie deck. I know for Phoenix Police, C deck is their I think it's their encrypted car-to-car deck. Well, we can actually take a look. So those are the fire channels I set up. So I named them 1 and 2. So I separated out Phoenix and Mesa. Here I have the Phoenix PD. So I set them up as channel 6. If we expand that, they're under RWC, just like, say, this Mutual Aid is RWC. So channel 6, I have, under them, I have the, okay, so the A deck here for Phoenix Police is their dispatch. And then if they have, get into a car chase or something, and they switch to C deck under Phoenix Police, that's all going to be encrypted. We're not going to be able to hear that. So I don't even program these in here. It's just a waste of space. And then I found that the Chandler Tower, from where I live, the frequencies on the Chandler Tower work fine for me to listen to Phoenix Police. And then I have my Department of Public Safety. These are just regular frequencies in here. So you can mix regular conventional frequencies and radios with the trunk systems. Now, when you want to add a new system, this is how I do it. So open up USA. I'm going to click on Arizona, and then I'm going to click on Maricopa. In Maricopa, we can look at the county systems. They call them county systems, but this is where you could also find your local PDs. Now, unfortunately, here in and it is unfortunate, I hate using that word, but they encrypted almost all the local PDs. I believe Phoenix is still open, and Maricopa is still open. But you also have the Fire, which is open as well. So we're going to go down to, here in Phoenix, it would be the RWC. So if I expand that, so Regional Wireless Cooperative, that cooperative means that there's all these different departments. And as you can see, there's a lot more than I listed here. There's many, many more departments, as you can see, under the RWC. And here's Phoenix. So, and these simulcasts are the different towers that you can set up. Now, closest to me is going to be Scottsdale, Tempe, and Chandler. And I'll show you where I'm going to use that. So if I want to listen to, actually, let's set up Glendale. I don't have Glendale Police set up on my scanner. As you see, when I click on it, it gives me nothing but the A deck. It's not really worth having C deck because it's all encrypted for the police. So I'm going to click on Glendale, right click. I am going to click then on append favorites. This will pull up my favorites list I was just showing you. Now I've got channel 1, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 9, 10, and 7. You see, I took out 8 because it was a system that didn't really work well. So I'm going to say new favorite list. I'm going to say now I'm going to add a channel 8 because I didn't have a channel 8. So it gives it nice and clean. I have 1 through 10. And we're going to call this Glendale PD. All right. So now it's going to inherit everything from the list up here into my favorites list. And we need to do some cleanup. So this is the database up here. So we pulled that from the database. And I'm showing you how to manually enter because I find that to be the cleanest, best way to do this. Right? So now we have Glendale PD. But see, it has all this other stuff I don't need. So I'm going to right click on this. I'm going to say program favorites list. This will give a new pop-up. So here at the top, because it's channel 8, I'm going to click on options. I'm going to say quick key 8. So now I'm telling my scanner is going to know that Glendale is allocated to channel 8 on my scanner. So that is the if we go back here, I just set that system up. So it knows that the system, I called it Glendale, but the system is on channel 8, right? Now I'm going to click on, and I'm going to find the departments, and then we're going to set up the channels. So let's look at, so here's the systems, Regional Wireless Cooperative, as we talked about. We're on channel 8. Let's click on the system, and here are the sites. Now, a lot of these sites are pretty far from me, so they're not going to be all that useful. I'm going to delete the ones that I know are too far for me to use. And what I do sometimes is, if I want to analyze it, I'll leave these sites and let my scanner play, and I'll just record it for like a day and see what are the most active sites, if you don't know what site is active for you. So because Chandler works well with Phoenix PD, I'm going to leave Chandler in there, and I'm pretty close to Tempe. So I'm just going to take out the rest of these. I'm just going to leave in Tempe and Chandler. The reason why I want to minimize it is the least you have, the less the scanner needs to scan the frequencies to find a signal. So you don't want to overdo it with too many towers. All right, so now I'm going to assign that a channel. So I'm going to click on Options, come down to Quick Key, and click the number 8 for Quick Key. Now we've set our departments, or we've got our system set up. We've got the departments. In here we have the channels now. So here's a tower. We got Glendale PD, which is the department. So now we're on this section, the department. We've already got that set up because we're only going to do Glendale for now. I'm going to click on Options. I'm going to set that Quick Key to 8. So you can see the pattern here is I'm signing all of these to 8, because then it will all be on channel 8. When I click on 8 on the scanner, it will go to Glendale PD. It also knows that the department is 8, and it knows that the channels are going to be set to 8 as well. So if I need to uncheck and I don't want to listen to Glendale, I just unclick the 8, and then it won't scan it anymore. Now I'm not sure if we need to set the towers up, but I'm going to do that anyway. And I don't know this for sure, but I think if you don't do that, it's going to scan the towers even if you don't have a department in there. So I'm going to go ahead and click Save. All right. Now, one of the things you got to watch out for when you add a new system, you have to click on this little box. It's 1, 2, 3, 4 to the left. It's called the Edit Profile. For some reason, it defaults it to off. So come in here and set these to on. So I want to make sure both of these boxes are on. And there's not like an affirmative save or anything. It's just when you turn it on, it's on. So now these are set up in the system. Now I changed this forestry earlier, and I just want to make sure that that's all on channel 7. It used to be channel 11, but I'm minimizing how many channels I'm going to use just to keep it really simple. So AZ Forestry, let's see, channel, see, we had on channel 8. We want to make that 7. I must have been thinking about 8 a lot today. Yeah, nope, it's channel 7. I don't know why I set them to 8, but this is one of those things that you'll turn your scanner on and it'll be acting in a way you weren't expecting. You'll be like, why is it doing that? And then when you open up Sentinel at the way that you programmed it, here it has channel 11. I'm going to set that to 7, so it's a little bit of cleanup. If it's acting a little weird, go in here and just make sure you got all your channels set up the right way. It is a little tedious. It takes a little knowing how the system works, how the software works. But once you get it going, it's really cool, and it's really convenient to be able to click on those channels and turn them off and on. And I'll bring up the visual of my scanner. It's actually, I turn it off. All right, so I'm going to save. Right. So now I have my new scanner, the Uniden SDS150. And what I'm going to do, I'm taking a chip out of it right now as I'm talking. I'm putting a chip into my computer. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to come up here. I'm going to write to that chip, write the scanner, Here is that chip for my SDS150. I'm going to erase the favorites because I want to write over it, and I'm going to click OK. Favorites list on scanner will be erased if you process. Yes, I know. And formatted writing to scanner, right? All right, now I can do is I can look at the actual list on the scanner. I can see that it's populated. It's got my favorite list in there, so I see that everything went over well. Although I see that it's got the 11th channel. Well, okay, but I think if we open this up. Now, these are the raw files. So you want to always be careful when you do this kind of stuff. So this is the FAR service. And see this right here? Even though it says 11 in there, it's on channel 7. So this gets a little bit deep into the woods, which I won't go too much into. But, you know, you can look at the raw files. All right, so I just wrote that to my scanner. Now that's my handheld. What I'm going to do is click on Pro Scan so you can actually see my base unit. So this is my SDS200. And here you can see how it displays the different channels. It displays the system that it's on. Here's that RWC I was talking about. And here's the different channels at the top. This is conventional fire. Topaz, which is Mesa. And you saw that Maricopa popped up. This is highway patrol. This is conventional. So once you write it to the scanner, you'll be able to hear all this stuff, and it's pretty cool. So, and also you can get a big view of it like that too. Anyway, all right. I hope that is. I hope that was helpful. And that's all I got for you. Cheers.